Hello, you are listening to the Gamer Librarian Podcast, the best podcast you can find on this side of the multiverse. I am your host, Adrian, and today I will be talking about Space Marine 2, Jack Black, and more. Afterwards, be sure to subscribe to be notified when future episodes are released, and show your support by liking and leaving a comment. Thank you for joining. Now, let me take a second to say that our next episode is our 50th episode and will be our Q&A feature. And I want you to comment below right now any questions you have for me. These could be about video games, books, manga, anime, anything at all that comes to mind. Some of those may be answered in the upcoming episode, so feel free to ask me whatever comes to mind. I think that'd be a pretty fun way to celebrate having 50th episodes. So that's pretty cool. Now, I really want to get into what we got to talk about because there is so much that I got to do, like killing Tyranids and all this kind of stuff. But before that, I definitely want to talk about a lot of things that were announced this week because there's some pretty cool, wild stuff in my opinion. So we have the Smile 2 trailer, which came out, and now I like the Smile 2 trailer a lot. I think it looked really good. The uh like cool nuance to it. I guess like this main character is like an actress, right? Like she's very like public facing and stuff, and there seems to be a lot of cool like public events that this is going to be taking place on, which seems pretty fun. The first Smile was really good, very similar to It Follows. If anyone sees that horror movie, also really good. I really liked those, so I'm looking forward to that movie. And on the subject of trailers, we had the announcement of the Minecraft movie featuring a very beloved actor, Jack Black, and I thought that was very fun. Actually, I think the trailer looks actually pretty fun, even though the creatures look really awful in my opinion, and then the world looks actually, pretty decent. It looks like a Minecraft world on like really high-end mods for the most part. It just looks like that. I don't know if like maybe having live action characters would be the best way to go about having a movie like this. Maybe you should have had them turn into block characters to some funny regard. Jack Black as a blocky character would have been fun. I don't know. It doesn't seem all that bad. I don't think it's gonna be all awful in the theater either. I think it'd be a nice fun romp. It's just a fun world. Some of the Minecraft story stuff is also pretty fun for whatever like lore that they craft, like the tales from the Minecraft or whatever it's called, from Tales from the Borderlands developer, like Telltale, right? And then they have another story mode, the what's it, the Minecraft Miners or whatever. It's like the top-down arcade game that's free on Game Pass. I played it for a little bit. It wasn't all that bad. There's some story to it, and I'm sure having real-world characters in here offer some new weird wackiness. It just you know, it doesn't seem right. It's like it seems worse than it's like Mario, the Mario movie that Jack Black's also a part of. It just seems like that's a weird project for him to like as a step down in quality. It just seems so awful. And then from Borderlands, right? He just doesn't have like this good track record of being in good looking video game movies. Mario looks great, has great animation, but then Borderlands definitely does not have a lot of good qualities about it, especially from just coming out now. I haven't seen it yet, but I'm hoping to. Mario is still really good. I really like Mario. And for this being a kids movie, you would think the quality would be top notch or at least to a better degree. It's not being received well, Minecraft. It's just really not. So that's really odd. And Jack Black even has his own like YouTube channel, right? That he does like games with like arcade, like boardwalk arcade games and like weird other stuff. He mostly features like his children on it and just playing games. So I don't know with him and being in games. Jack Black has a video game. His video game Brutal Legend is one of the best video games ever. So if they make a video game about that whole or a movie about that, that would be awesome. That's what I really want. A movie about Brutal Legend featuring Jack Black playing his character. I don't remember the character's name he plays in it, but man, that was really good. It's about like a roadie who dies, and heaven or hell is just like a awful place where every monster, like demons and stuff, are just part of rock bands, and you gotta like fight through the uh demon lord like world with like a really cool car and stuff. I haven't played it in such a long time. That's one of the few games I had just never really replayed after like being like 20 years old. That's just really wild. I just haven't played it ever in a very long time. And maybe I will now when the new movie comes out for Minecraft, just to celebrate Jack Black in some fun way. Because I definitely like his movies. I like Jack Black. He's a good actor in a lot of other cases. Maybe he's cool as what's it, Claptrap? Is that who he voices in Borderlands? I don't know. Live action Jack Black is still really good. So like, and his voice is iconic, and he's really good at it. So I don't know like why that's so different. But the Minecraft movie definitely doesn't look all that awful in my opinion. So looking forward to that. I think it's the next year release, like April or something. And yeah, for other news, the Persona playthrough is still going pretty well. So I want to talk about Metaphor Re Fantazio. This is by the same developers as Persona Atlas, right? It's their brand new, like, um, it's still the Persona genre, like they just have a Shin Megami Tensei, but it's still the same kind of genre. It's kind of like demon Pokemon, where you like just capture these demon or like personas, and you confuse them, and but like the world is different every single time. I've never played a Shin Megami Tensei game, and they don't look as appealing as the Persona games. So I'm definitely more of a Persona fan, but Metaphor Refantasio, as much as I've seen, it looks intriguing. Man, I'm excited to see all the cool nuances that they added on top of the Persona or Shin Megami Tensei formula that they've developed now. Because I really like that, the whole calendar system and all that stuff. It's all seems pretty fun. This is a game I'm definitely looking forward to playing at some point. It comes out the same time Sparking Zero comes out, and I definitely won't get it if I haven't beaten Wulong. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna be trying to do that first. And I think Dragon Age comes out like sometime soon. I really don't know when that absolutely comes out. Yeah, and just around the topic of Dragon Age still, there was a 22-minute gameplay feature with IGN that was like, I think over a week ago, but I missed it and I never watched it, but I got the chance to do that now, and the gameplay looks much better than what we've seen from one of the initial showcases, like around E3 or whenever, like earlier in the year, around like maybe April or March. And it looks like they have a lot more like polish to the game. It still looks like Inquisition, which I don't think is bad, but it seems like they're definitely leaning more towards like that older style, which was Inquisition, and not really making it this game like its own kind of identity in that kind of way. But I'm still excited for it. The mage gameplay they showed off does look fun, and the UI HUD looks like, again, like so like Inquisition, but definitely a little more like vibrant and poppy in my opinion. And they brought back like the Darkspawn, and they showed a little more on the Blight, and the Blight looks what they called more organic. So it's like obviously like more fungus, like corruption stuff, very similar to the Swarm from like Gears of War, and then like the Flood from Halo and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, and they mentioned a lot of lore stuff. Like, I'm not gonna get into too many details, but they mentioned a lot of things like going through to relive Solus's memories. Solus is obviously either the really big antagonist or a dude who's like he's going to be a companion sometime later in the end of the game. I think it's going to be a companion. That's my call. He seems so involved, and like his motives are super obscure for the most part. It's obviously about bringing like the Elder Gods back or preventing something with like the Blight, but it's very selfish. We don't get a full context for it, especially like his motives from the older game Inquisition. Like we don't get a whole lot, but I'm excited for it. It still looks fun. I wish we could have done more with the Road to Dragon Age, like playthroughs and reads and stuff. But time just gets away from you when you have like a full-time job and everything else. So it's just like, just trying to play these games that are usually like 20 hours on average. It's definitely getting a lot harder, but we do what we can. It's definitely still fun to do a lot of this stuff, talk about them and things. It's just, you always want to like replay a lot of games, especially games that are like you can replay them once, like a year and like a different time. It's like a different experience every time. Like, Telltale games kind of like that. What's the robot one? Detroit Become Human. Like they have so many different outcomes. Inquisition is just like the same kind of game, and you want to get as many endings as you can and see like all the options. The era where like the internet comes through and all the videos from all the endings are immediately uploaded like so fast that still seems like it's apparent right now, and it's just like that kind of experience is kind of going away. That's why I think games that are like Dragon Age aren't as popular as they once were in like the early 2000s, the 2010s, that kind of era. That seems really sad in my opinion. It just seems like they aren't trying to strive for that kind of experience, that enhanced gameplay or storytelling or interactive kind of experience. A lot of these games are very much more, we have to be as multiplayer, online, and microtransaction focused as possible, which is awful, because a lot of these games, Dragon Age doesn't seem like it's gonna be any kind of monetization kind of nightmare, but it's still like a lot of other issues, which I don't really want to like speak on because they're not like personally my kind of issues. I don't really want to talk about. I want to objectively look at the game and see how it like plays and how it is presented to us and how it handles the lore and how it lasts for like a legacy that's beyond like just Dragon Age. Like this, we're counting on BioWare to do a good job, and then they're still talking about Mass Effect, like the new Mass Effect series, and everybody knows that series is dead. Like, come on, like no one's talking about that anymore. So, yeah, like enough about Dragon Age. There's a lot we could talk about for that, but until the game fully comes out, I don't really want to speak like more on it because I definitely wasn't expecting the game to look like this. I wasn't even expecting the game to be presented in such a disjointed way like this. Like Dragon Age Inquisition had a lot of like cool things in it that were presented like from the get-go, like when we saw the initial trailer. And there's not a whole lot of that here. Like there's not a whole lot of new stuff. They're not showing off new stuff. It's just very much, this is what was good in the game 10 years ago, and we're just kind of going to go stick with it. And I don't really like that. So I'm not really keen on like particularly how I saw like what I saw from the gameplay. It doesn't really seem like they're enhancing or making anything new or specifically changing anything. But until I play, I can't really say like that. But it's just from what we saw. This is what we saw from the 22-minute little feature. So overall, let's move on to, something that I really want to talk about. I don't get to talk about this guy enough, Maximilian. Um, I use him to talk about him because he does mostly fighting game stuff. I don't even want to talk about like fighting games. I try to like at least bounce back off him because like I trust his opinion. He seems super intelligent on the idea and how the craft of fighting games is presented, and he seems knowledgeable how they work and all that kind of stuff. But he is like being the um figurehead and like lead promoter and uh just general go-to guy for this fan-made mod called Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite Beyond, which is awesome. It's a collection of various mods that have come out for, I believe it's specifically a mod for Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. I don't know if there's one for Marvel vs. Capcom 3, I could be sure, but I think it's only specifically Infinite. And it collects like a whole bunch of characters and I think quality of life mod stuff, like having character slots for all of your modded characters be featured and new shaders and all kinds of stuff. And I just wanted to shout out to Max for getting things out there for Marvel vs. Capcom because that's one of the best franchises out there. And then we even have the new Marvel vs. Capcom collection coming out. So this is, I guess, the reason why I wanted to bring it up was that he's worried that the mod that he's trying to promote put together will be like legally forced to delist from any kind of distribution from the owners, the publishers of the actual companies, Capcom and Marvel, which is obviously fair. The companies have a legal right to do that, but I do think it's still pretty courageous, noble of Max for trying to put and devote time, money, effort into a Marvel mod because I think mod collections like this are like the bread and butter of all kinds of games. Games that aren't like sourced out for like having mod communities like Starfield or smaller games like Terraria and Minecraft. Minecraft isn't small, but I mean like at the time it was small and you could still do mods. You know what I mean? Like it was an indie game that even still allowed mods in its early like life cycle. So you don't have a lot of these games anymore that don't care if you mod their games. Like Nintendo's very notorious for not allowing a lot of mods for their games, but commercially you still can do that. It's just until they get big enough where they can get monetized, the big companies wouldn't care. I only think the big worry for this kind of mod for Marvel vs. Capcom is the new game coming out that features a good portion of the most popular Marvel vs. Capcom games. So, in my opinion, I think that's the only reason they need to worry. But I don't think it's going to hurt sales for an older game. If anything, like Max said in his videos, it's only going to help promote the sales of these games because you need to buy these games in order to play the mods. And I'm certain not a lot of people own Marvel's Capcom Infinite, let alone Marvel's Capcom 3. Now, these are fighting games. Fighting games don't sell as popular as other games. They notoriously don't, unless you're like Smash Brothers or Mortal Kombat, obviously, like the really big public facing, normie kind of fighting games, like ones that like normies play and know about. You're not getting a lot of normies playing Tekken or anything like that. Like Marvel vs. Capcom is pretty popular. Like I think in the general scape, like usually if you're a guy, you know what Marvel is, you may know what Capcom is, but like as a gamer, you obviously know what both is. I feel like maybe unless you're a gamer and maybe not a comic guy, you might not specifically know Marvel. I don't know how you don't know Marvel. Like that's a weird Venn diagram that I don't think matters. But I just wanted to shout out to Marvel's Capcom Beyond because I do plan on getting that at some point. Like I don't own Marvel's Capcom Infinite on PC, but this is a good reason to own Marvel's Capcom on PC. So I think that's gonna be awesome. And I'm just looking forward to trying out that mod, have some new characters to play as, and then hopefully playing the collection that comes out in the future. That's going to be awesome. So, yeah, one last game just to talk about it because this will be talked about and played when it comes out on September 26th, and that is Balatro Mobile. And Balatro, I think, has been out for quite a bit this year. I think it came out this year, so it's only been out for a little bit, and it's like a roguelike card game, mostly like poker, I guess. I haven't fully seen gameplay of it because I don't really want to be like spoil or anything. I want to just experience it. And as far as I know, it's then doing pretty well, well enough to get a major update featuring a plethora of characters and like themed cards, I guess. I only have the two that I remember right now. It's Dave the Diver and The Witcher. So those are like two of the games that are being featured within the game itself. Balatro. I think that might be a Cult of Lamb one. I'll have to double check. But yeah, it's coming out on mobile, on phone, and I would get it at some point, typically. But now that it's on mobile, I'm just gonna download it immediately, like as it comes out on the 26th. So that's awesome. I don't have to get my Switch. I don't have to have my laptop or my PS5. Like that's awesome. I just play my phone. Great. I'm so excited. So hopefully it plays just about the same as the base game. I've never played the base game, so I'm not really sure, but I'm definitely looking forward to playing Balatro. I've been dying to play it, and we don't get to play a lot of mobile games for the podcast. This is gonna be really fun. Looking forward to that. And yeah, that's about it for like game news. Now, obviously, we have games like coming up, so maybe we can talk about a little bit that. We already mentioned Sparking Zero and Dragon Maid's Veilgaurd, and now obviously there's Metaphor Re Fantazio. That seems awesome. Marvel's Capcom. That's basically about it. So we did have a game just come out this week and I've been loving it. It's Warhammer 40K Space Marine 2, and this has been a really fun game so far. I'm on, I guess we might call it like Mission 2 or Chapter 2. It really doesn't tell you, but we just did like a diversion where it gives you like the operation. You can choose to do the operation to like blow up like fields from the Tyranids or play as like the main guy for the main story. So that's really cool. Like that the operations are part of the story and they're like those separate missions that are all like presented together in that kind of way. That's awesome. I really like that. That's cool. And the combat is so clean. I'm playing right now on veteran, which is hard mode, and I did beat the first boss, which is the Lictor. It goes like invisible and it's annoying as shit, annoying ass fight. So definitely it's an enemy that's coming back very often because people like doing that in video games, making annoying enemies also invisible, and vice versa. So yeah, the combat's very fun. It's very responsive. You have a lot of time, at least to me, for certain things. You have a lot of time in terms of parries and dodges and getting away out of attacks. And if you do an attack, you're kind of committing to it, like the full combo maybe and stuff like that. But there is some like iframes, so you don't have to worry about just getting chip damage to death as you're doing an animation or just one shot, just standing there, just doing nothing. But you definitely have to be careful with your surroundings because they can get overwhelming fast. It started introducing flying enemies, and now there's like status effects with like blur your vision and obviously like poison you or and all this kind of stuff and slow you down. So there's definitely a lot of things you need to work through and like figure out within learning the game. There's no multiplayer access, at least right now for me. I didn't get a chance to do that, so I'm only doing the single player until we get to the multiplayer because it says like you'd want to experience the story before you get into multiplayer. Multiplayer might have spoilers, so that's might be interesting to some people. Now, I'm having a great time with this. It's fun. I'm not the biggest Warhammer fan, but it's certainly definitely a blast of a game to go through. I'm liking it so far. I haven't gotten a chance to customize my Warhammer, my Warhammer, my Space Marine yet. So when I get a chance, I'll definitely have a picture for all of you to see, and then I'll probably update it as we go through, see what the Space Marine looks like as we, um, kill Tyranids on the planet. Kanku or whatever it is. I just forgot what the name of the planet is. But yeah, I'm having fun with it. It's just, so far it's fun. Looking more forward to the multiplayer though. That seems like where the game is really gonna thrive, especially with crossplay. I got a bunch of friends who have it, so definitely looking forward to talking about that in the future. And we're still playing Wukong, Black Myth Wukong, and I beat the Yellow Wind Sage boss. That was pretty cool. Took a break from that game, beat the boss in the first try. You know how it is. So that's cool. We're in like a snow area right now. I didn't get to explore much from there. I haven't been playing much of Wukong as of late, but we're definitely gonna be trying more on that. It's coming soon. So Black Myth has been so much fun. I am also still playing Inscription. I'd like to get to an ending of this game. Now, I say an ending because I don't know how these games end. I don't like looking up the endings for games or anything else. So I don't know if there's like multiple endings or certain things you can do to get a different ending. So I just want to experience the ending and then stop playing Inscription. But so far, I haven't beaten the villain or what I guess is like the final boss yet. I did look online to see if there were how many bosses there were, and I did two of them definitively. I fought the merchant or like um the pelt dude, the pelter, the guy who sells the pelts. Like you can fight them, and there's like a secret boss. I guess I was added, so I maybe like almost to the end. I just want to beat two of the bosses, I guess. But I did do all of the room puzzles, and I got their camera film. So now I'm just deciding or figuring out how to finish the game with the film, and that's about it. I don't know how to do anything else. That's just basically how it goes. So until that game's finished, I definitely you know won't be playing any other indie games for the most part, but I definitely want to try and finish Inscription. I'm liking this game. It's a fun little deck building game. I'm enjoying it. And so yeah, Inscription, Black Myth Wukong, and Warhammer 40K Space Marine 2. That's basically all I'm playing for the week coming up until like obviously I talk about Balatro that's coming out end of the month, and Sparking Zero probably be the closest game coming out soon that we talk about featuring soon. That's about it, for the video games. So yeah, I do think it's time to talk about our sponsor, Dubby. Dubby is a clean energy drink that is made to give you focus with no crash, jitters, or angst like other energy drinks. We also have no maltodextrin filters and don't use artificial dyes. Dubby contains vitamins, amino acids, a nootropic, and 150 milligrams of caffeine. Now, if you go to the website, you can get a 10% off coupon using our Gamer Librarian coupon code to get 10% off products like drinks, powders, apparel, portable bottles, stickers, and bags. Now, if you click the link, that's 10% off of your order using coupon code GAMERLibrarian. Dubby is an energy drink powder that is produced in FDA registered and inspected facilities in the United States. So, before we wrap up the episode, I definitely want to take time to talk about the manga and anime that I've been going through within the week. So, right now, we started a new anime, me and Hannah. We started watching Jujutsu Kaisen. Now, we only made it to about episode 9 or so. We're talking about Mahito, like, we're getting into Mahito's backstory and how he fits into, like, the villain. And, I like Jujutsu Kaisen. It's definitely fun so far. I'm enjoying some of the characters. So yeah, I don't want to speak too much on Jujutsu Kaisen until we finish like season 1 or whatever part we're on. Like Netflix says there's like 24 episodes, but I think there's like 2 seasons and then the movie and then like the third season, right? So until all that's caught up for us, I don't really want to speak like ill of it because I wasn't the biggest fan of it earlier. I watched it maybe a year or two ago, up to only episode 3. Up until Nobara Kugisaki is introduced, and she really turned me off the show. I didn't really like her like vibe in the show. It just seemed like odd. And then as we go through the show, I'm kind of getting that vibe. It's silly, a very very much of the time. It's silly for a good portion of it, which is not bad. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. It just kind of takes away from some of the seriousness of it, which is there's not a really good balance to it, I would say, but that doesn't make it bad. That's not really what I want to say. I think it's bad. It's definitely not way like not the way I would do it. I think like tone wise, it's like it shifts from like some super serious battles for the most part, and then um, it doesn't really have that same kind of flow that some others have. But I'm not an expert. I'm not really gonna speak on it. Art is great. Art is great. The fights so far is cool. I've said people say the fights are awesome, but it's like this is just like Naruto, and we're doing like things in like psychological realms and all this kind of stuff. It's just like those aren't like fights. Like I like the more physical fights. Like Baki is a show that's going to be coming out. on here on the podcast soon. We can talk about that. I haven't watched the new Baki yet, but I hear fights in that look really good. But until this show finishes, I won't speak ill on anything that I've seen so far. I'm still pretty early on, like episode 10. So that's just what I would say that we're starting Jujutsu Kaisen right now, and we'll be hopefully finished with it by the end of the month or something, whenever. This is the first anime show that I've watched in a good bit, other than Devilman Crybaby, which was decent. In terms of like animation style, I think it's decent, but this is like really good animation, in my opinion, which is awesome. And so I'm really looking forward to Jujutsu Kaisen in the future. Now, what I really want to talk about is uh, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure because I finished part six earlier this week, and part six is my favorite, like hands down. It's just the best one. I really like Jolene. She's my favorite JoJo out of all the so far the six that we've seen in the cast, and it's been really fun, overall seeing her perspective of the world because it's very much just like, wow, this really sucks. The circumstances, just like she put herself in a bad situation, obviously, for the most part. She should have not helped her boyfriend hide that body. It just shouldn't have been a thing. You shouldn't have done that. She got herself in the situation. And then there's all this stuff with like the stand stuff happening in the prison, and then it just gets wilder from there. It just gets wilder from there. Now, I was not expecting them to go to Disneyland. I I was thrown aghast. Now it's set in Florida, which was not, you know, a big like foretelling surprise, but it was definitely jarring. It's like right now it's set in 2011 for JoJo's Part 6. So yeah, they go to Disneyland for a little bit, and that was definitely fun. And it has my favorite character and stand in the whole series so far, and it's FF. I think the stand becoming like a what do you call a group of them? Um, a swarm of plankton gain a stand, and the stand can occupy and like control dead organisms and become them for a small bit, and then like heal, and then just like shoot projectiles for a little bit. Definitely a cool stand in my opinion. I think the plankton becoming like intelligent and like um trying to use logic and intelligence, or like logic versus intelligence in certain parts was really fun. I like that character. I think FF was really enjoyable. Funny too. Protecting the water bottle over anything else during like the pitching scenario scene, that was really fun. I like that. That was really enjoyable. So yeah, part six is one of my favorite ones so far out of all of the ones that we've encountered so far. The prison setting, in my opinion, was really good. I was really intrigued by thinking how were they actually going to get out, and then you know what was surprising? She chooses to go back in, and they're in the prison for even longer. That's crazy. I was baffled, baffled by that decision. But yeah, that was actually really enjoyable, and it still played into connecting with the overall JoJo storyline with Jotaro Kujo, and Dio is featured for a small bit. He's not the main antagonist, but he's there. And right now, I am on part seven, Steel Ball Run, and this is, I'll say it, the craziest part so far. It's wild. So it goes back to the like original setting of part one, Phantom Blood, like about 10 years after I looked it up. So Phantom Blood, which is part one, takes place during 1880, and the part seven, Steel Ball Run, takes place in 1890. So as far as I am aware, where I'm at, I don't know where it, connects or disconnects. I guess the universe was like reconstructed after part six with Maid's new ability because he's like the ultimate being or whatever the fuck, whatever he is, he went to heaven. So all that nonsense, I guess, reset the universe, but I don't know what context that goes into all the stuff we saw previously because obviously this is like earlier in the timeline, but do things in the timeline affect each other? Like does nothing matter now? I'm unsure. I'm not really going to speculate on it too much, but I'm at the part where they just beat Ringo Road again. I thought it was pretty cool. That wasn't a bad fight. He has the stopping power or the rewind power of time for like 6 seconds, so that was decent. Not a power that we've necessarily seen before, but we've definitely seen things very similar to it within JoJo, which has been very fun. And right now we're going to be starting, I think, the Green Tombstone. That's right where I am. It's like volume 80, 88. Volume 88 is what I'm on. And yeah, Johnny Joestar is pretty cool as like a like a weak baby Joe still character. I'm surprised that they still have stands in this setting right now, but then we also have people throwing balls and throwing steel balls. And so Gyro Zappelli, he uses steel balls as a weapon, and that's like the trademark for whatever he does. And then the race is called Steel Ball Run, which the wildest part about this entire part is that it's all based on a race with like 2,300 horses that are racing down the edge to edge of the United States, like East Coast to West Coast. Um, yeah, it's crazy. That's the weirdest part, and I wasn't expecting any of this to be part of that. So, yeah, I'm enjoying part seven so far. It's definitely been super enjoyable to get a chance to experience JoJo for what it is because I don't think all the parts are great. I don't want to say any of them are really bad either. Um, like part one and part two just kind of feel so like in the grand scheme of it, if you think about the other parts, part one and part two are so not three to six, right? I'll say three to six are pretty similar in a lot of ways. But part one is like its own thing. That's like Phantom Blood is a cool petty story with some like supernatural stuff to it. And then you have like the history to it with like Jack the Ripper coming back and those two like Roman warriors at the end. Like that in and of itself was specifically unique. And I know that JoJo is like from the same person that did Fist of the North Star, and I don't know how those two connect anyway. I'm not even gonna speculate. But when it comes to part two felt like the same as part one in a good portion of it, but the villains, in my opinion, were like the best. I don't think any villain from any of the parts so far in my like in caps the part two villains, because at least the part two villains had like honor in like a lot of their shit. Like they were like, okay, we're gonna give you like legitimately the chance to fight us. We know you're weak. We know you're not even like worthy of our time or this chance, this opportunity. But they still allowed like to that degree like a challenge, and then all this stuff happened at the end. But I really liked the villains of part two. I thought that they were really cool and unique. We had a lot of cool um like depth to them, and the villains in the later parts, they're just villains. They're just like evil and they're malicious, and they have like backstories, but it's just like there's just like no um compassion for almost anything from any of these villains, like whether the part of Dio or whatever. I guess like the villain for part six, what's his face? Poochie. Yeah, I think Poochie is probably as close as we're gonna get to like, a villain with like depth, because he had the whole thing with his brother, where he like uh pretty much betrayed his brother being a certain character. I'm not gonna say who it is. He comes out later. But yeah, he betrays his brother and does some you know not very compassionate stuff. Uh, Not that like the villains in part two had compassion, but they definitely had more depth than the villains that we've seen in the past. But yeah, I'm just loving part seven. It's been really fun seeing how this plays out with the Joestar lineage, and I'm excited to see what this what's it retcon revamp new story lists. Whatever happens happens. I'm just excited for the ride. And I think it'd be fun to talk about JoJo as it comes out chapter by chapter. Certainly, I think it'd be definitely really fun. So definitely look forward to that. And we get to our last topic, talking about a manga that comes out week by week that we talk about, and that's Wild Strawberry. Now, not a whole lot's happening specifically in this chapter. It's just I don't want to talk about spoilers, but I do want to talk about Wild Strawberry because the art is so good. Now, I didn't want to show off a lot of pictures for this manga, but I just have to for this time. So I have some saved. I'm going to add them to you know the video portion of the podcast. You guys can go find that if you guys want. But just look at the art. The art's great, and that's just it. Just the art's great. I'm excited for the story with all that nonsense, but this just seems like all kinds of stuff. But seeing all this cool like flower specific art is just really fun to me. I think it's a really good time. So we're on chapter 30 of Wild Strawberry, which has been pretty fun so far. There's a lot of like new things we're learning, obviously, within the story with the Jigka and how they work and plays with like their human host or just eating humans. And it's probably most likely man-made specifically, but we don't really know yet. So we're gonna find out. And yeah, that's basically about it. This is our 49th episode, which is crazy. So hopefully next week, without any delays or like hiccups or obstacles or anything like that, next week's episode should be our 50th. So, like I said at the beginning of the episode, I would like you to comment below right now any questions you'd like to ask for me, anything you want to know about me, if you have any questions about the podcast, any events coming up, or possibly video games or books that I plan on reading in the future, recommendations that you might want to give me, things like that, anything to be honest, Um, I don't really I didn't really had any other idea to do a 50th anniversary or 50th episode like special or anything like that. I wouldn't really know. I thought about doing it live, doing a live presentation for the Q&A stuff, but I just haven't had time to really fiddle with that. It's like I said at the beginning of the episode, it's the full-time job that plays into a lot of my time, just not being affordable to spread around for a lot of stuff. It's just mostly for the podcast right now. It's set things up, record, edit what I can, and then just publish it. It's just do whatever. But yeah, that's what we do. We keep going, we keep trucking. It's the way she goes, obviously. And yeah, this has been the Gamer Librarian Podcast. Be sure to subscribe for updates on future episodes. Leave a like and comment on what games or books I should talk about in the future. And comment below for any questions that you want to give me for next episode, our 50th. That's awesome. Thank you and see you next time.